You know,
Yeah.
it's like sometimes, you know, you take a step outside of it and you see different pockets of people and you ask yourself, how can I bring people together? And one thing that I know brings people together is, well, two things: music and food. So,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know, it's fun for me being in a room, you know, not to tell anybody's business, but being in a room and seeing two ladies that really don't like each other. But I song, and I guess they song, so they put their hands in the air, start singing,
Uh-huh.
locked eyes. So now they singing at each other. Next thing you know, whatever we was mad about, we not mad about no more.
Right, right.
Yeah, just to
But
bring up unity and all that good stuff.
okay, so do you remember your first album that you bought?
My first album that I bought.
Yeah.
Hold that pose.
Wait a minute. You still got it?
Yep. And I feel like you should know what it is, but you know, I'm gonna give you a pass.
I'm a little nervous. Ah, okay,
Ab-
okay,
Absolutely.
okay. I can see that. I can see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So why that being your first album? What made you say I want to buy that album? That's my first
You know, Michael Jackson at that point was everywhere. Like he was, you couldn't turn on any channel and not see him. Like even watching MTV before, you know, we were allowed to be on MTV. Like they played the heck out of Michael Jackson. So,
one.
um, I used to dig him because you know style. So I wanted to have the curl. Well, actually, I did have the curl, and you know, actually, this particular jacket right here, I had this suit when I was young. Well, I had the suit anyway,
I
but
think you still got it. You know, when I was in I was probably I think I was maybe fifth or sixth grade, fifth grade, my fifth grade summer. That's when everybody was getting the Duke.
mm, yeah,
Yeah, I tried it for a day.
it didn't work.
Didn't work.
Oh wow,
I watched it out. Yeah, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I
I
could
was gonna
not do it. Like it was greasy, and I'm a hot natured person. So as a kid, it didn't work. I was just trying to be like my
say,
older
I
cousins.
couldn't picture you with a dude.
Man, nah, brother. Like it
Hard
was
time
not working.
remembering you with hair, but you talking about a dude like that'd be crazy.
Yeah, no, like yeah, we no, we yeah. So that was in my former life. So we've gonna moved on past from that. But so from there, like you get your first album. So did you already have like a record player? Did you already have something of your own, or was it like it was already in the family house? There was a record player that you'd be able to use.
It was in grandma's house. It's in my grandma's house, and actually, probably about 6 7 months ago, I traveled to Kansas City to get some things out of my grandmother's house because you know they were selling it, and that's when I found that. I mean, it was still there in her record player. Like it was the last record ever played on a record player.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. Um, let's talk about the music space.
Okay.
Um, in terms of brunch.
Mm.
So I feel like it's probably in maybe like 2000, maybe 2009 ish was around the time where brunch really kind of came about because it was people didn't want to go to the club, but they wanted to go to happy hour. So they started having DJs, whether it's at restaurants or at bars and having food. So it's evolved where I think people just really guessed it was just really exciting happy hour.
Right.
Now, people will always say, I would always hear this Oklahoma City is so far behind. But the brunch scene started in 2009, from what I would estimate. And I was still living in Houston. That's 14 years ago. So brunch is still a pretty new idea,
Still
and how
something.
brunch is now, right?
Right.
Um, how have you seen the role of the DJ evolve from, let's just say, the last 5 years? How have you seen the role of DJ evolve from 5 years ago to now?
From 5 years ago to now, you know, and you know things were already started to change. Of course, you know technology is coming to play. The role and expectations of the DJ now changed. You know, and a lot of times in you know our communities, we expect the DJ to be the talent, the promoter, the financier, you know, like security, take money at the doors.
Okay, so why is that? Like, look, we're having an honest conversation. It's just like me and you talking. So if I feel like you're not giving me the real answer, you know I'm gonna push you. So why is it that? Why do you feel like there's an element of people who want this brunch experience? They put all of this expectation on the DJ to do it all. Like it's almost like passing accountability off to the DJ to make it happen. When I don't own the building, my name ain't on the permit. So why are you putting it all on me to make, or the DJ to make it happen when you haven't done your part? Why do you think that? Why do you think it's moved that way?
Well, I think things have moved that way for one, you know, out of greed. You know, while you have that on one side, you have some people over on the other side that want to get all the money. You know, like they want to get, you know, the promoter, financial, I mean, like the talent, all of it. So a lot of it happened out of greed to where the promoters and the DJs, like they started disbanding from each other, not really taking into consideration that, you know, we both need each other. So that's where, you know, a lot branched off and just started doing it. And don't get me wrong, a lot of them are successful at it. Like I know some guys, you know, we're not gonna call names, but shout out to them that really, really took it to that level. So as far as the brunch scenes, I feel like you can't have brunch without music. You can't. You know, not for us. You know, on a brunch day, 9 times out of 10, you might not have on like your best clothes, but you know, you didn't got G'd up to go to brunch because you never know who you're gonna see in there.
Mm-hmm.
So take it back to our brunch experiences. Like our brunch experiences started as, you know, a cool little vibe, and then like it turned into, you know, it turned into the premier place to be on Sundays.
Yep.
Like, yeah, we came as close to the club and brunch as possible. Like it was amazing to create a vibe in a room and then just be able to change the vibe at the same time. You know, you would always have me going to the Texas set and go out of the Texas set to the Cali set to the R&B set, the sing along set for all the ladies to stand up in the chairs and sing. And it's like, it's almost like bringing sexy and sophisticated to the club, but we're not at the club.
Right.
And people are mature. Like it's just the vibes just undeniable.
So you kind of teed it up. So let's kind of talk about it. Sunday social brunch.
Okay.
So we'll start with how it really came about. So it came about from a relationship I had with the now former general manager at this particular establishment, and just wanted to. He needed a way to get more traffic into the space, and I enjoyed his vision. I know what he wanted to do, and it worked out. And the reality is that Sunday social brunch was just supposed to be a month, but within 3 weeks, you know, the energy was there. I mean, it was coming along. It was becoming the place to be, and it really was like a month-to-month thing. I may or may not go into some of the other detailed stuff, but it was that idea that there needed to be a place for me personally. What I really cared about was finding people who did not want to go out, who do not go out to the traditional spaces, who were just at home. Like I wanted the people who were at home to get out of home and come out. And that's who I feel like I always try to target, other people that are just not on the scene. If you're on the scene, you're going to be there anyway.
Right.
But the people that that had low expectations of what they were going to experience in Oklahoma City. So that's where Sunday Social Brunch happened. And in some things that were going on, had to protect the brand because that wasn't the idea. Because I had this thought, if we're doing good business together, then I shouldn't have to protect myself with the threat of you taking it. So that's why we trademarked. So that's why Sunday Social Brunch is the trademark is owned by OKC Black Eats. Well, in that process, discovered that the name Sunday Brunch had never been trademarked in the state of Oklahoma.
Wow.
Which is strange. So we trademarked that name too. You know me.
Doug Woods, boy.
You know me, right? Like I'm gonna protect everything around mine.
Right.
But that also put me in a position where people are looking to us from terms of like analytics or whatnot. That's on the business side of it. But why do you think Sunday Social Brunch worked? Why do you think the brunch that was created was, I mean, brunch is brunch, but what made the Sunday Social Brunch experience different from any other brunch experience in that time frame?
Well, for one, and I'm going to say we because I was a part of it. I think we really kick-started the brunch scene here, doing that because it started off as brunch, because I don't even know if it started off being called Sunday Social Brunch, but it started, small and just grew like within an hour. Like I remember that day going into it, it's like, man, I don't know what this is gonna be like. We're in this particular establishment and we're OKC Black Eats on top of that. So, just thinking about the music and not trying to go in between, the different genres without offending somebody else. So the next thing you know, I blink my eye and it's a whole vibe. And I think what made ours different than anybody else is the vibe itself. Like it was sexy in there. Like whether we were doing low energy music or high energy music, I mean, it was always sexy, even when it got, borderline ratchet or sophisticated ratchet.
Hey man, it was just high energy, is what it
I
was.
was just saying, high energy. There it is. Even when it got high energy, it was never a situation where it was out of hand.
Yeah, and I want to talk about what that word vibe means because I think people take it almost like one dimensional.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm the person that like as long as everybody else is having a good time, I'm good with busting my hump. Like I will, excuse me, I will do it all. So I don't care as long as folks are having a great time because I believe that if somebody's coming to your event or being a part of your business, your campaign, like they shouldn't feel the chaos in the background.
Right.
And I've been to so many events. I learned this from, being in the frat in Houston, is that we had this thing where we committed to going around and talking to people that I guess were not considered the quote unquote cool kids. By people who felt like, oh, I can't hang out with them because I'm not popular enough. So although there were a ton of people, I try to make an effort to touch everybody that I can kind of see, make eye contact. Hey, how are y'all doing? Because if they don't enjoy the experience, what I'm doing, my efforts don't matter. When you're DJing, the music just sounds different because they don't feel like they belong in a place. And as humans, we want to belong with people. And I think that's part of the vibe experience is like, can this be a space for everybody? So then what do we start seeing? 11 o'clock to about 12:15, you had your seniors show up.
Yeah.
Come early, straight from church. They Steve Harvey suits and all. And they'll get there at 11 o'clock. They'll get their food. They might have one mimosa. Then they leave by 12:30 because folks are coming in that want more of a lively experience are coming in. And then, of course, around 2 o'clock is like, hey, we've had a lot of drinks and it's going up, it's going up, it's going up. And it's supposed to end at 4. Sometimes they ended at 5.
Yeah.
Chappell back is hurting. It might end at 6. And he getting mad at me because I'm like, hey, man. But then I remember one time you got mad at me because I was like, well, you didn't get mad at me. You were like, dog, I'm ready to go. I was like, all right, ended at 4 o'clock. I turn around and you didn't let a group of ladies convince you to go 2 more hours. And that day I was tired. You decided to go 2 more hours on the day I was tired.
I mean, you created the culture that we don't mind giving you more than what you paid for. So
That's crazy.
because you got to think, man, the original time for it to end was 2 o'clock when we first started, and somehow we've had days to where I don't get to stop the music till 6:30. So
well, this is why I kept going.
hey, man, that vibe.
I kept going because of money.
Oh, that too, of course.
The vibe, yeah, but going from 11 to 2 to 11 to 4, hey, y'all go to a 5 is because we made that venue a lot of money.
A lot.
And I don't care what anybody tries to say. I got receipts of the people who tried to go behind us. I got receipts from management. I got receipts from leadership. I got a lot of stuff. A lot of things I know I just don't say, but it was money. Like we brought a lot of money in there. And what puzzles me about even with having to go to other establishments to host things for us to feel comfortable, because you said something earlier. You said having to be conscious of what we play in an establishment that's not us, that's not owned by Black people, that we have to be conscious of that. And I want to be in an establishment that we own, that we don't have to think about Black folks are only in one direction. We think about a social, a nightlife event, it leads to violence or craziness. Yeah. We never had one altercation.
Not at all.
Not one. So why do you think that is? Why do you think with all the people who would come to brunch, why we never had one altercation?
Like, you would really...
There are a lot of different types of people there.
Exactly. And we got a little bit of everything, from the sophisticated people to, a guy coming in with his pants sagging. Like, we had the mix, but
white people, Asian folks, racist backgrounds and whatnot, like everybody was there because of food, great music, great atmosphere that we created. I'm gonna drive this point home. Sunday Social Brunch created that atmosphere for the entire building. That had nothing to do with the establishment.
Right.
Zero, absolutely nothing. So when they tried to do it after us, guess what? Okay, we're gonna park that there. Continue to what you were saying.
Oh yeah.
So I'm trying to filter the best I can, man, because there's some stuff I'm like, I want to say, but it's not even worth it. But there was a bit of everybody.
Right. I mean, but there's a little bit of everybody. Like I said, we even have politicians in there, and we see all of these different collectives of people that were able to come together. Like, there are whole relationships that were formed at Sunday Social Brunch between people that you would not ever in your mind put together.
I'm pretty sure there's probably some Sunday Social Brunch babies. I know there's some serious relationships that come about of that. I look back at some of the videos of people that I know now that don't fool with each other. There's definitely several people that I see in there that I don't fool with, but we're there. But at the end of the day, I think when you're hosting something, it's not about who you like and don't like. What experience are you going to create? And it's okay to have more than one option. Do you think that the reason why people tend to think you can only do, that Black folks can only do one thing at a time on a day is because the idea that there aren't enough of us?
I think we've been conditioned to feel that way. Some of it is, we play favorites. I mean, and it's not just in this particular industry. Look at the industry of Black comedy. Like, rarely do they let it be like more than one comedian. I got to think back in the day, it was Eddie Murphy. Probably went from him to whoever it went to after that, and just on and on and on. Like, there's never really more than one comedian at the time. So, I mean, I kind of bring that back to a lot of our mindsets. Like, we had Sunday brunch, so other people were trying it, and it's just it's a mentality thing.
And ironically, when we ended, all the other stuff ended too.
because they depended on us. I mean, they come to us, and when we finally stop playing music, then people are still wanting to be turned up, so they go to other people's stuff. So I mean, it was a good cohesive thing. Like it.
But I think I think when you do, and I've seen this happen. So when we go to other cities,
Right.
there's all these different events going on. So somebody might go to Sunday social brunch, or they might go somewhere else because you're at a place for a couple of hours. You don't maybe not want to go home, but you want to go somewhere else.
Right.
And it's okay. But those people may have understood, let's create something where we get a lot of people out moving around throughout the city. And it's okay if so-and-so has it the same time, because everybody may not want to go
Right.
to Sunday social brunch at that location, but they want to go somewhere else. And it's okay. But I was disappointed because what we did took a lot of effort and a lot, like, this is how it went, y'all. I'm up at 6, getting ready for the day. So not only hosting and managing it and getting people together, getting the reservations and tables together, and then also managing people, and then videoing, going live. And y'all got a video for 5 months in a row within 2 days of the Sunday, and do that every week. Every week. So when we stopped, I was like, I kind of wanted to go experience somebody else's because I couldn't go because I had my own thing. But then they stopped. And that inconsistency is what, to me, shows people that you don't really want to do this. Like, you want to get on somebody else's space. And I've heard you describe that, you being a DJ. And that people see you create an atmosphere and come behind you, and they want to DJ on your night too, or they might want to take your radio spot, or like, it's this. If you really, I'm trying not to, but
you're not failing.
I'm trying not to, but it's the whole idea that there's really something for everybody. The table is big enough to create your own table or to add value to a table. So why take when you can create?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's always easier looking over the fence at what your neighbor has than focusing on what you got. That grass always looks greener on the other side. So, I mean, there is enough out here for everybody. Like, there were places that people would go from time to time when they wouldn't visit our establishment. But, I mean, we still had enough people to make it do what it did. So,
I know there was one particular establishment in Midtown that was doing brunch. Bigger venue. I mean, they had a lot more money and new establishment, and then they just stopped doing brunch. And we had nothing to do with them. We were in a whole different area, in a different district. And I was like, well, they stopped doing it. Wow. And I really did not understand the magnitude of what we were doing, because you're working on your own thing. Like, you're trying to make your own thing grow. And then you realize, like, I mean, somebody stopped doing brunch altogether because we had all this attention on a Sunday. But the population of Oklahoma City is over 700,000 people. We probably are getting a 0.5%.
right.
In total number of people that came.
Right.
Which it was weird to me. I would say this real quick before I switch to something else. I remember when Jeremy came and he did, the band came and they performed, and I was like, man, they out here. And I was on the the second floor, and I was by the stairs, and I saw rival gang members. Bruh, that was the only time I was kind of like, not today.
Man.
Not today. I'm gonna be on the news. I may have to resign from a board or something because it's a standoff. Nobody tripped, but I was like, I feel it in my gut. Today of all days, it's like everything's going well. And wait a minute, This color of gang members on by the stairs. This color of gang members by the door. And they stared at each other. And I was like, y'all, hey, just y'all, not today. And what I appreciated about that is, what I learned from that, my own biases about what was happening kicked in. But what I appreciated was they were like, yeah, everybody having a good time here. Like, we good. And we don't give each other the benefit of the doubt at times. And I'm glad that didn't happen. But that's what happens when you do things to bring people together. You're going to get all, and I looked at it like this after it happened, that if we had more experiences, a variety of experiences for us to participate in Oklahoma City, it would be a normal thing.
Right.
It would be a normal thing. But because so many things stop and start, it makes it difficult. So let's switch gears real quick.
Right.
What's next for you?
What's next?
What is the thing what is on your bucket list that Chappell wants to attempt? It could be music, it could be unrelated to music, whatever it is. Like, what's on your, like, man, like, this is my bucket list of things that I want to try.
Goodness. I do want to get back into and I've been doing it a little bit. I do want to get back into acting, theater type stuff. Of course, DJing is always going to be my passion. So, I enjoy doing, different things like that, but probably going back to something, theater based.
So what's stopping you?
Nothing stopping me, actually. I mean, like, I've been doing it. Like, I've been acting off and on, like, in plays for the last probably 5 or 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't have a current project right now, but I've jumped back into it.
So you see yourself just acting, or like, is that like executive producer? Is that writing something? Is that producing a show? Like, where do you see yourself taking your an acting career?
Ultimately writing. Well, no, probably directing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you were to direct something, what would be your first, coming out the gate? What would you want to direct? As executive director, producer, it's your show, your spot. Like, what would that storyline look like?
It would definitely be a comedy.
Okay.
Absolutely. Like, I could put together a sketch show if I needed to, for comedy or whatever. Like, those were the things that I was doing when I actually ended up in radio. So absolutely, it would definitely be a comedy.
Okay. All right. So I told you I was only going to keep you on for 20 minutes. I know you got so many other things that you have to do.
Man.
But man, I appreciate you joining me and give me some of your time today and talking about brunch and music. We got some things coming up, working on, and I know people are asking when is brunch coming. Working on it, trying to find the right relationship. But if you don't know, which I know you do, and I definitely value, our friendship, you being a brother, you being there, like, you're the person I can call on, you give you a different perspective. You're the person that, when I think about who understands the importance of what music plays, that you're the person. I don't have to, like, coach a lot. Now, I do have to get on your butt about being on time, but that's another story. If it's 12 o'clock, Chappell gonna be ready at 11:59:57. He gonna be there, but but that's because you work hard, man. And I love you.
I like hitting buzzer beaters.
Oh yeah, that boy gonna do a buzzer beater, y'all. But Chappell is, in my eyes, is the number one, the best DJ in the state of Oklahoma, and that I'm always pushing you to do something more that what I think you could do. And I value you, brother, and I appreciate you, all that you do as we get ready to kick up this brunch season and we figure out some time to make it happen. But we are actively looking for a space, a location to bring it back. We got to get some more Sunday brunch love connections and people to get together here soon. So I'll let you get back to your day, man. Since you're looking all Sunday Easter fresh. So I know as soon as this thing is over, man, you're gonna take them clothes off and put on something else. But
right. You trust me, you didn't want me to have on what I had on when you called.
You probably was wearing the FUBU t-shirt.
Exactly. I'm thinking like, there.
That's crazy. Yeah. But all right, then, man, I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, man. Love you, boy.
All right, good people. The time is winding down on this podcast. This is episode 1. I'm gonna do a quick recap of the experience today. Today, I started the podcast on mute. You probably had some bad sound because the mic wasn't connected properly. And as y'all saw other videos, I was ready to go. And the reason why I was like that is because I didn't give myself enough time to prepare. But that did not stop me from getting episode 1 because I said May 11th, 2 weeks ago, I said May 11th, I will have episode 1. The episodes will continue to get better. We'll work on our settings and all that stuff to make sure we give you an experience that you want to listen to our podcast. This is episode 1 of the Bigger Than Food podcast. We got about 39 guests from all across the country that want to join the podcast. So just stick around with us. And if you are interested in becoming a guest on the podcast, you are an entrepreneur, business owner, you have an idea or a topic and you would like to be a guest, feel free to shoot us a message. But thank y'all for tuning in. This is episode 1 of the Bigger Than Food podcast, and we will definitely see you around. And like we always say, our mission is bigger than food, and make sure you are intentional about spending your money with the Black-owned business.